Well, the judge was taken into custody but has been since released. Let's bring in U.S. political analyst Eric Ham standing by. Eric, your take on this one?
Well, look, we have heard from the president as well as those in the Trump administration that they have been becoming increasingly frustrated with the courts actually stepping in, overruling and overturning many of the executive orders that have been put forward by the president. In addition to that, we know that the administration, particularly Donald Trump, has been very, very upset with judges who have been stepping in and attempting to block many of his deportation orders. And so I think this was the next step in this escalation that we have seen from this ongoing feud between the judiciary and the executive branch. And I think today what we saw from the FBI with this arrest is them sending a clear message to the judiciary: stand down, stand by our decisions or else.
I wonder what you think this says about how far the Trump administration, Eric, is willing to go to get what they want.
I think this makes clear that clearly the only thing standing between the judiciary and the executive branch has always been the willingness of the executive branch to actually stand down and adhere to decisions that have been made by judges being the final arbiter and the Constitution and the laws that govern the land. I think what we're seeing right now is the president, like on so many other issues, is pushing past those norms. And again, I think we're just seeing more cracks, more breaks in the rule of law that has pretty much undergirded democracy in the United States. And now I think what we're seeing here is this is becoming a full-scale war between the two. Already we have seen the fealty by the Congress on this issue, and now I think the final rail of protections were the courts, and now what we're seeing is the executive branch using its power of enforcement to now attempt to try to gain that fealty by the courts with this arrest. This is going to certainly send shivers through the rest of the courts as a result of this.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, the sort of chill effect you think we may see now from other judges, because, you know, there are so many lawsuits that have been launched against the Trump administration, Eric, in the first 100 days. I mean, it could be 200 or more at this point, and a lot of those judges are now being targeted either online. You know, the president has talked about impeaching judges as well. Do you think that this arrest, even though the judge is now being released, do you think that will cause some judges to think twice before they render their decisions?
I think it certainly can. And I think what we're seeing by the president is he has continued to say that he was elected by millions of people and that judges are unelected officials. Therefore, because they are elected, that somehow their power, their authority doesn't have or carry as much weight as the executive. And so I think what we're going to continue to see play out is how far are the courts willing to go, not only in rendering decisions that simply do not comport with what the president wants, but also how far are the courts going to go, particularly as we go up the ladder in terms of circuit courts and perhaps even the highest court in the land, which, of course, where all of this began when the Supreme Court provided so much power and authority to the executive branch. And now we see they're continuing to run with that. And even the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Justice Roberts, has actually attempted to try to attack the president on these issues, but still we haven't seen them actually rein the executive branch in on this issue.
Eric Ham, U.S. political analyst, with his take on this stunning story. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.